You know, some myths are there to teach us a lesson, to warn us about flying too close to the sun. But then there are the other ones, the stories about those who saw the sun and decided to give it a run for its money. Today, we're diving into one of the most ancient and epic of them all, the story of a giant who actually tried to chase down the sun.
I mean, think about it. A giant versus the sun. It sounds completely insane, right? A race that seems doomed from the very start. And yeah, on the surface, it looks like nothing short of a tragedy in the making.
So let's get into it. The legend of Kuafu comes to us from way, way back, from an ancient Chinese text called the Shan Jin, or the classic of mountains and seas.
And this story kicks off with this simple yet totally staggering idea. Kuafu, this massive giant, just decides one day, you know what, I'm going to race the sun. Not to conquer it, not to destroy it, but just to catch it, to run alongside it.
And we're not talking about just any guy here. Kuafu is basically a demigod. He was a descendant of Houtu, the literal god of the earth. He lived out in the vast northern wilderness, a figure as colossal and as wild as the land itself. And here is the absolutely wild part. He starts to win. He runs so hard, so unbelievably fast, that he actually catches the sun just as it's setting. He reaches this mythical valley, Yugu, right as the sun dips below the horizon. For one fleeting moment, he did the impossible.
But well, you can imagine the cost of a victory like that. Getting that close to the sun, it absolutely scorched him. And this unbearable, all-consuming thirst just takes over. A thirst as immense as the giant himself.
To try and fix it, he bends down and drinks the entire yellow river. Gone. But it's not enough. So then he turns and drains the Wei River too. Still, that fire in his throat is raging. Think about that. Two of the great rivers of ancient China couldn't quench the thirst he got from his celestial race.
He's desperate now. He turns and starts running north, trying to get to an even bigger source of water, the Great Lake. But he doesn't make it. His body finally just gives out. He collapses and dies right there on the journey. In the end, it wasn't the sun that beat him, it was his own body.
So what are we supposed to make of all that? Well, for centuries, pretty much everyone read this story in one very specific way, as a cautionary tale.
The story basically became the definition of this phrase, bu liàng li. It means to not know your own strength, to be reckless and bite off more than you can chew. For a long time, Kuafu was the ultimate poster child for foolish arrogance. And this interpretation really got cemented into place by other texts, like the Lizi. They straight up used Kuafu as a negative example, a lesson in what not to do. His ambition wasn't seen as noble, just a fatal miscalculation.
But is it really that simple? Is he just some fool who overreached? Because if you take a closer look, a much deeper, more complicated character starts to emerge. Modern reading sees something way beyond simple foolishness here.
And this is where the story truly opens up. We go from a simple moral about arrogance to these incredible new interpretations. People started to see Kuafu as a symbol of the scientific spirit, or as a tragic hero, or even as a metaphor for the entire human condition.
Let's start with that first one, Khufu the Pioneer. In this version, he wasn't trying to conquer the sun, he was trying to understand it. His race was an act of pure curiosity, born from that same spirit that drove explorers across oceans and astronauts to the stars. It's that relentless human need to just see what's over the next hill. Another way to look at him, and this one's a bit more poetic, is as a tragic hero. What if the sun isn't just a star in this story? What if it's a symbol for time itself? Then Kuafu's chase becomes this powerful metaphor for humanity's desperate, unwinnable race against mortality, our profound desire to outrun our own finite lives.
But here's the kicker, the most crucial detail of all. His story doesn't actually end with his death. His final act completely redefines the entire journey, and it turns what looks like a failure into an incredible legacy.
The whole key is in this one line from the original Shan Jin. As he's falling, he throws down his walking staff, but the staff doesn't just lie there in the dirt. Something miraculous happens to it. It takes root, and it sprouts into a vast grove of peach trees, a Dèng Lín. In some versions, it's his very body that nourishes the land and gives rise to this forest. So you see, his death isn't an end at all, it's an act of creation. And just like that, the whole narrative shifts. His personal, maybe even selfish quest results in a selfless gift to the world. He creates a forest that gives shade and fruit and life to everyone who comes after him. His ambition is redeemed through sacrifice. He didn't win his race, no, but he left the world so much richer.
And that leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? Kuafu's story shows that the value of a great pursuit isn't always in achieving the goal, but in what's created along the way, even in so-called failure. So it makes you wonder, what are the suns we're chasing today? And what kind of groves are we planting for the future?